Thank you. Good evening. If you're just entering the virtual meeting, if you could please kindly put your name in the chat so that we can keep track of who is in attendance tonight.
Where do we put our name?
In the chat area, there is a little bubble at the top of the page and I apologize if somebody can please mute your microphone so that there's not feedback. Oh.
No, there you go. Can you hear me now, or is that wrong?
I can hear you, Bill. Thank you.
Okay, and the bubble, where's my bubble down here? On the left, right? There's a whole bunch of bubbles.
It should be at the top of the page.
Only if you're in Microsoft Meetings. I came in on Google.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure then.
Yeah, it might be at the bottom of the page.
I see it LSTRPBALDHB.
Yeah, above that, you might, is there
a red dot? I see a recording thing.
Yeah, you know what, Bill, if you can't figure that out, not a problem. If you could please state your first and last name. This meeting is being recorded, so we'll capture it that way.
Okay, my first name is Bill or William, and my last name is Sinnott, S-I-N-N-O-T-T.
Thank you very much.
And I'm from Burke. And are there 4 people in on this now, or more than 4?
We have more than 4 in attendance this evening. Let me double check.
All right. 1, 2,
19.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I can see, I think.
Yes. We'll give it just a few more minutes for people to log in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. But if you entered into the virtual meeting a little bit late, if you could please sign your name into the chat, or please state your first and last name. This meeting is being recorded this evening, so I just want to make sure that we capture everybody in attendance. Thank you.
This is Wayne Gray, G-R-A-Y last name, and I live on the pipe stem that's closest to the new construction of the facility. I was unable to log in, so I've just dialed in by phone only.
Perfect, thank you.
I'll go back to mute.
And make sure everybody's in the right place. This is the Stormwater Wastewater Facility Construction kickoff meeting. So just want to make sure everybody's in the right room as well. A few more seconds and we'll go ahead and get started.
First time on Microsoft Meetings. I've got this little funny face down in the lower corner. Can you see the little funny face on your screens?
No, I cannot.
Okay, yeah. It's going to be an education. That's all right.
All right.
A question while we're waiting. This is
sure.
being recorded. I've got a next door neighbor who's not here. They're away, and they wondered, would they be able to listen to it later on a recording? Will that be put out?
Yes, absolutely. We are going to record this evening's meeting, and we can distribute to the attendees as well as post it on our project website for you to view for future reference. Or you can contact me directly and I'll give you my contact information at the end of the meeting. And I can gladly send it along to whoever needs it.
Great,
okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I just want to make sure that everybody can see my screen. Yes.
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So before we get started, I didn't know if Mr. Supervisor Walkinshaw, if you wanted to say a few words before we get started this evening.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Allison, and thank you and the team for putting this together, and everyone from the community for joining tonight. This is a really important meeting, and our goal here is, especially for those of you in the neighborhoods directly surrounding the project, to make sure you understand what's happening, understand everything that we're going to be doing to try to minimize the impacts, although there will be some impacts, but we want to minimize those and give you an opportunity to ask questions and share concerns. And tonight is not the only opportunity you'll have to do that, as will be pointed out in the presentation. You'll have the contact information for members of the team who are on this meeting. So throughout the project, you can reach out and ask questions if you have additional concerns. You can always reach out to my office by emailing us, braddock@fairfaxcounty.gov. Marcia Pape from my office is here. She's been working on this project for a long time. So we're here to serve you and answer your questions and address your concerns to the best way that we can. So thank you all for joining us, and look forward to seeing the presentation.
Thank you very much. And again, welcome everybody. And thank you for taking the time out this evening to listen to our presentation and finally kick off the construction phase for the new Stormwater Wastewater Consolidated Facility. Today, I'm going to provide you with an update focused mainly on the construction activities that you will start seeing, provide you with the contacts if you have any questions or have immediate concerns, and as well provide you with the opportunity to ask questions and we can provide you feedback. Again, my name is Allison Terrazzini, and I am one of the design leads for the project. Before we do get started, I do want to mention a couple of housekeeping things. If you haven't already, please put your name in the chat area so that we can record who is present for this meeting. Also, this presentation is being recorded, so we can provide you with a copy in the future and provide a copy on our project website as well for future reference. Also, along the presentation, if you have any questions, please include them in the chat or hold them to the end. And then once I'm completed with the presentation, we will allow for some time to answer those questions. Just to first like to introduce the project team, and if the project team can turn on their cameras and just wave your hands as I call out your name. But this is the team that has been diligently working on the project day to day for the last few years. And so I just wanted to first point out some representatives from the Stormwater and Wastewater Division. Miss Ellie Coding, she is the Deputy Director of Stormwater and Wastewater Management. I think she is attending this evening. If not, thank you, Ellie. Along with her, we have Shwan Fatah, who is the Director of the Wastewater Collection Division. From the design side, we have Mr. Chris Lyon and Miss Amila Babek online and in the meeting today, as well as myself and our consultant representatives from Michael Baker Architects, and we also have Land Design, our civil consultants, online as well. From our construction side, we have Mr. Devon Hogan, Evan Ruggles, as well as Eric James from DPWS Construction Management Team, and they will also be representing the general contractor Manhattan in this meeting tonight. Also, in support of the project, and I like to have a special call out to Supervisor Walkinshaw, thank you again, and aide Marcia Pape for all of her work in the Braddock District. And Mr. Chris Harrington, the Director of Public Works and Environmental Services, And last but not least, Ms. Tia Raju, the Director of Building Design and Construction Division. So those are all the people that have been involved on this project thus far. So let's review where we are with this project. This project is the combined stormwater and wastewater facility. It consolidates the stormwater and wastewater functions, integrated services in one centrally located site. This is to maximize the efficiencies and provide for future growth opportunities for the program. The project consists of 2 parcels, generally identified as Site 11 and Site 13, as you see on the map. These 2 parcels are stretched among 24 acres. Site 13 is the current home for the Wastewater Collection Division, and you're probably very familiar with that in your neighborhood. Site 11 is a county purchased parcel that is currently home to an inactive concrete plant. The project is bordered to the south by Fairfax County Parkway and a mini storage facility, to the east by Fred's Oak and Burke Public Library, to the north and west sides by the residential community. The stormwater wastewater consolidation facility will be an 8-building campus as shown on the plan. Generally, it's laid out in Site 11, which is the decommissioned concrete plant, will serve the facility's main service yard and will also include shops and material equipment storage. The service yard will also include enclosed parking and vehicle wash. This is all depicted in the buildings 2 through 7 on the left side of the site. In Site 13, which is the right side of the site, will mainly house Building 1, which will be the new main administrative offices for the combined stormwater and wastewater services. Also included on this side of the site is the supportive building number 8, which is the new operational fuel station. Important to note is that the positions of these buildings and its compact and interior site design allows for a greater vegetative buffer of 50 feet minimum to maintain the adjacent to the residential properties. Also to the north of the property is a 100-foot conservation easement that will be maintained and a 10-foot high masonry wall to be installed to help screen the service yard from the residential neighbors to the north. The facility will be secured with property fencing and will be maintained along the perimeter and with new ornamental fencing along Fred's Oak. To support the sustainability initiatives, the project will target LEED Gold certification and will implement many project enhancements to meet this goal, including a green roof, solar-ready infrastructure to support photovoltaic systems, electrical vehicle-ready parking, geothermal supportive heating and cooling, rainwater harvesting cisterns, bioretention, and pervious pavement for enhanced stormwater management collection. Also included in the interior of the building, in building number 1, will be a green living wall and video screens to support the educational programming of stormwater and wastewater. As you come into the entrance at Fred's Oak, it's noticeably higher than the rest of the site. This will provide for panoramic views of the entire building number 1, which will include that green roof and the solar panels as they will be showcased as you enter into the site. The south entrance to the building will mainly be used by staff and operational vehicles, while the main entrance on the north will function as the public entrance. This is the main entrance to the building. The north parking area adjacent to this side is designated for staff and visitors. Overall, the design exemplifies the sustainable features During construction, the project will be broken generally into 3 distinct areas or phases, as we call them. Phase 1, as generally shown in the orange hatched area on the left side of the screen, will focus on Site 11 or the in this phase, Site 11's access connection to Fred's Oak will occur. Until such time this connection is made to Fred's Oak, as identified as construction entrance number 2 on the plan, Clara Barton Drive, which is designated as construction entrance 1, is the only means and in and out of Site 11 and will be utilized as its primary connection during this phase. Moving on to phase 2, as shown in the green hatched area, this will focus the construction of the new administration building and sustainable infrastructure and enhanced stormwater management systems. Moving into phase 3, as shown in the purple hatched area on the farthest right side of the screen, this is the existing wastewater collection division building area, and this building will be demolished. And then in this phase 3, the project will wrap up to finalize the site development, conditions, and landscaping. For the next year, though, the contractor will be focusing their work in phase 1 area. Thereafter, they'll generally move into phases 2 and 3. So on March 15th, the contractor was given the notice to proceed with construction. In the last few weeks, they have been completing surveying activities, root pruning and select tree removal, and clearing to set up the project's erosion and sediment controls and staging areas. As we get past these initial few weeks, you will see more activity on the site as construction kicks into gear. Looking ahead to activities in phase 1, the primary focus will be the deconstruction of the concrete plant and site preparations for foundations and acceptance of buildings 2 through 8. And as previously stated, phases 2 and 3 will follow. So what will the construction operations look like to the neighborhood? So Manhattan, the general contractor, will generally be on site Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., and occasionally on Saturdays with a 9 a.m. start. This will continue for approximately 3.5 to 4 years. And of course, the hours of operations will abide by the county's noise ordinance. Phase 1 construction area, safety fencing will be in place, and access to and from phase 1 area, as previously stated, will be through Clara Barton, which is designated as construction entrance 1 on the previous slide. All dust and erosion control measures will be in place and protection for the conservation area to the north as well. As the project progresses into phase 2 and 3, the construction traffic will mainly utilize Fred's Oak entrances. And all while construction is happening, the wastewater collection facility will remain operational to serve the community. So the 3.5 to 4 year construction duration is further broken down into general milestone schedule as shown. The start of construction has commenced, and based on projections, we anticipate the completion of phase 1 to occur in fall of next year. For phases 2, completion is scheduled for early 2025, and then following in phase 3, and overall substantial completion is projected to be fall of 2025. So as we continue through the construction process, if you ever have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out to one of the direct leads on the project. As listed, I have myself for the project contact, Mr. Eric James for the construction contact, and Shwan Fatah as the on-site operations contact. Of course, if there's ever an emergency, please call the Trouble Response Center at the number provided. And then for periodic updates, we will be providing information on the project's website located at the URL on the screen. So occasionally check back and you'll find some updated information and pictures, hopefully, as construction progresses. So that's all that I have for this part of the presentation. But now we can open it up to any questions that the audience may have. Thank you very much. So just reaching out to Chris, did we receive any questions in the chat during the presentation time?
I have not seen any questions in the chat.
Okay. Is there anybody? I think Bill has raised his hands. He's figuring out those buttons. So Bill, what is your question, sir?
Well, thank you for a very nice presentation. It's very clean and well organized, and it looks like it's going to be an interesting project. My only question has to do with the access route on Clara Barton. In the initial phases of our discussions with the wastewater, stormwater group, who are good neighbors, and we like having them here, we discussed the use of Clara Barton for heavy vehicles as not being a really good idea, since it's a single road with no sidewalks and no gutters and all the rest of that stuff. I don't think there will be too much access in the terms of vehicles going in and out on Clara Barton. Maybe you could clarify that. And number two, the follow-on question has to do with operations as they begin in 2025.
Yes.
Will that Clara Barton access be curtailed? That's probably for the storm wastewater folks.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll tackle the first one related to the construction access. Clara Barton, as mentioned in the presentation, Clara Barton is the only access to the concrete plant until later on in the construction, when we are able to make the permanent tie-in to the southernmost entrance along Fred's Oak. So and also to help minimize the commingling of operations traffic with construction traffic, Clara Barton will be the primary access during the phase 1 period, which is approximately the first year of construction. So we will need to utilize it for construction, for our construction entrance.
Okay, that will only be for construction, not for current operations for the wastewater, stormwater folks, right?
Correct. As
Okay.
we move into the permanent operations, we have a commitment that that entrance and exit will only be used by personal vehicles, and no county vehicles will be using that that access. Schwan, did you have anything to add since you were the operations manager for the site?
So the only addition to that is, I believe the language states, Allison, you can correct me, only in an emergency if we need to, then we would utilize that access for operational purposes. But otherwise, everything goes through Fred's Oak.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. That answers my question.
Great.
Thank you. I see Annie with her hand raised. Annie, please.
Hi, and thanks to everyone for putting together this very informative presentation. I had a couple of logistical questions. You had mentioned a concrete wall that will be going up on the northern border to more or less separate the residential from the facility itself. Do you know any details about that concrete wall in terms of like what height? Do these look like the concrete walls that line the Fairfax County Parkway?
So the wall that you're speaking of, separating, it's adjacent to the building shops areas on the concrete plant area. That is a solid 10-foot masonry wall that's going to match the facade of the building, on-site building. That is in addition to the existing property fencing, chain link fencing that is along the property boundaries. So this is to help screen, in addition to the 100-foot vegetative buffer that is in between the buildings and our property line, and then further to the north to the residential properties.
Okay, got it. And then I had a few other more questions. Can we, during the construction timeframe, will there be any road or infrastructure changes in terms of, I don't know, like detours or anything like that from a road perspective on either Fred's Oak Road or Clara Barton or anything like that? Or it will just be the same for residentials, like we wouldn't notice a difference more or less?
I don't anticipate having any major traffic changes. The only thing that we are doing, but is some public improvements for some handicap ramps along the sidewalk um, on Fred Oaks. There may be some temporary flaggers to when those may be installed, but majority of the work is going to be interior to the site. So you should not see any additional detours or anything related to this project construction.
Okay, okay, fantastic. And then I live on the Fred's Oak side, and currently there are pine trees that line the facility on going up Fred's Oak. Do you know if those trees are staying? I know you had mentioned that surveys were ongoing and they were deciding which trees to keep and the ones that they were gonna have to tear down. Do you happen to know if those will stay?
I'd have to double check the tree conservation plan. But we, in addition to some existing trees that will remain, we will have a 50-foot buffer from the property line into our site with vegetation, including trees and bushes and such, along Fred's Oak. So I'm not certain if the particular trees you're speaking of are going to stay or not, but I can check the plan and double check for you and follow up.
Okay, that'd be great. And then one last question, and I promise I'm done. um, the new building, as I had last been in a community meeting a few years back. As I was told at that time, um, the property is zoned, whatever it's zoned,
Mhm.
industrial. And I wanted to ask the number of stories the new proposed building will have. The current building, I think, is like 2 stories, so it's very low to the ground.
Yes, the new proposed building is basically 2.5 stories, but because of the grading, visually from the neighborhood, it's not going to look any higher than the existing building will.
Okay, fantastic. Great. Thank you.
Mhm. Are there?
Alison, if I can, sorry, if I can
Yes,
just
yes,
jump in.
please. Mhm.
It's 2 stories. It's the half level is on the mid level, so it's still 2 stories only. It's like a split level, so it's a maximum of still 2 stories.
Oh, okay, great.
Apologize, stand corrected. All right. Let's see. Are there any other questions? I see Bill has his hand raised again. Is there anybody else that we've missed before we circle back to Bill? I think, Bill, you're the only one with your hand raised, so go ahead.
Okay. My question is, you're going to put in a new or an enlarged fueling station that you have over there at this point in time?
We are a new one, yes.
And what is the difference in quantities of fuels that will be over there from the old to the new one?
You know, I'm not certain. I'd have to double check on that. Tia, do you know?
I know it is 20,000 gallons. I don't know. I think it's 15,000 currently there. It's being increased to 20,000 gallons.
Okay, 5,000 gallons only. Number
That's
two,
my, yeah, we can double check, but that's my memory. That's what's coming to me.
okay, it's reasonable, not that much. Second question has to do with hazardous materials.
Mhm.
Will any new hazardous materials be introduced into that geographic area as a result of the consolidation that is not currently already there? And if so, what might they be?
We don't anticipate, Sean can jump in, but we don't
So,
anticipate
I-
any.
I can only speak for current operations, and I think Bill's question is in addition to what we currently have on site. I don't think we have any stormwater representatives here. I don't anticipate any hazardous material from that group, but we can double check and certainly get back to the community on that one. It's a good question.
Okay, thank you very much. That was the question I had. Thank you very much. A comment on Microsoft Meetings, the acoustics and the video is excellent. Thank you very much. Or are excellent. There you go.
All right, very good. Are there any other comments, questions? Marcia, did you have any comments or questions?
No, the only thing I was going to say about the wall that I believe Annie had asked about, that's providing not only visual, but that's also providing a noise or a sound barrier as well.
Thank you for that clarification. All right, if we don't have any other further hands, I think that concludes our community meeting.
Can I jump in just with
Oh.
a few more comments?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I did want to ask, our neighborhood had previously worked with the county. Again, this has been a few years back, to ensure that people that were using the Fred's Oak entrances and exits were making right turns,
Mhm.
and going out the Fairfax County Parkway.
Mhm.
I just wanted to reiterate the importance of that, if possible. And this isn't a complaint by any means. It seems to be working. So kudos. And then the second question I had, my father is an employee of the Fairfax County Public School System, and the buses do use that facility for filling up buses. And is that going to be impacted at all, or is that accounted for?
So I can address your question number one regarding the no left turns into the residential neighborhoods off of Fred's Oak. So that is going to maintain to be a facility operational policy for the consolidated facility. Regarding your question about fueling, fueling operations will be maintained through construction operations. There might be a temporary time where we have to transition into the new fueling station, but that should be maintained. That is one of the operational requirements. So fueling should be maintained.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay. Are there any other comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, again, please reach out to one of the points of contact. And I'll be, and also, I'm sorry, we will have information on the public project website for you to reference in the future. So thank you again for your time this evening, and looking forward to having a successful construction. Have a good evening.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone. Good night.
you. You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.